Hello, and welcome to our training session on tense and aspect in English. In these videos, I will explain to you how to best use different tense and aspect combinations of English. We will start with the most simple tenses and then make our way towards some more complex ones. But most importantly, I will start with an introduction which explains in general how to detect which tense aspect combination you should use. Based on our research, we've identified that what really matters is that you are capable of identifying which elements in the text or context will help you choose the correct and most appropriate tense aspect combination. So, in simple words, you need to look for the right clues or the right cues, as we call them. We've also found that different tenses will rely on different clues or different cues, which means that the present simple and the past perfect progressive, for example, will rely on different cues. But I will show you which elements of the text or which clues are actually relevant for each tense aspect combination. Another thing you need to keep in mind is that, as I said, different tenses will rely on different cues, and these cues can be verbs or adverbs or even phrases. An example of this is that for the past simple, one of the most reliable cues is the actual verbs, because we found that some verbs occur almost exclusively in the past simple, which means that if you see one of those verbs, such as the verb reply here, you should know to use it in the past simple, because the chances are that is the tense that will fit best with the context. Let's just have a look at the different options we have for tense aspect combinations in English, starting with the most frequent tenses. So the top most frequent tense in English is actually the present simple, as in I love strawberries. It's closely followed by the past simple, he told us the story. And just to let you know, let's just let you in on a little secret. The present simple and the past simple are actually account for like half of all the tense aspect combinations that we find in English. So they're very frequent and they're very useful to know when to use. The third tense is the present perfect, as in I have improved my score. 4 is the past perfect, as in I had never met them before. 5, present progressive, she's watching a film. 6, past progressive, they were talking loudly. And finally, 7, for the most frequent tenses, is the future simple, hopefully we will meet her soon. Now, there's also 5 other tense aspect combinations that we can use in English that are much less frequent. Starting with the future perfect, I will have seen it by then. Excuse me. The future progressive, he will be dancing that day. The present perfect progressive, I have been working very hard. The past perfect progressive, you had already been singing. And finally, the least frequent of them all, barely ever occurs, the future perfect progressive, she will have been sleeping for 2 hours. The good news is, if you understand how to use the simple, most frequent tenses, then it should be easy to understand when to use the more complex and less frequent ones. Based on the information I will give you throughout these videos, you should be able to draw some conclusions about when to use the present simple, the past simple, the present perfect, etc. Once you have learned all of these, you will be able to combine them to actually understand when to use the present perfect progressive, for example, or even the future perfect progressive.